One fine evening, a young princess put on her bonnet and clogs and went out for a walk in the forest. When she came to a cool spring bubbling up from the ground, she sat down to rest for a while. She had a golden ball in her hand, her favorite toy, and she kept tossing it into the air and catching it again as it came down. After a while, she threw it up too high, missed it, and the ball bounced away across the ground until it finally dropped into the spring. She rushed over to the edge and looked in, but the spring was so deep she couldn't see the bottom. She began to cry and said, "Oh no! If only I could get my ball back. I'd give up all my beautiful clothes, my jewels, everything I own in the world." As she was speaking, a frog popped its head out of the water and said, "Princess, why are you crying so hard?" "Oh, you gross frog," she replied. "What could you possibly do? My golden ball fell into the spring." The frog answered, "I don't want your pearls or jewelry or fancy clothes, but if you love me, let me live with you. Eat from your golden plate and sleep on your bed. I'll bring your ball back." What a ridiculous idea, the princess thought. He's just a frog. He'll never be able to leave the spring. Maybe he can get my ball, though, so I'll just promise him what he wants. So she said, "Okay, if you bring me my ball, I'll do everything you asked." The frog dipped under the water and disappeared for a few moments. When he surfaced again, he had the golden ball in his mouth and tossed it onto the grass. As soon as the princess saw her ball, she grabbed it and ran off, so thrilled to have it back that she didn't give the frog another thought. The frog shouted after her, "Wait, princess, take me with you like you promised." But she didn't stop or look back. The next day, just as the princess was sitting down to dinner, she heard a strange noise. Tap, tap, splash, splash, like something climbing the marble stairs. Then came a gentle knock at the door, and a small voice called out, "Open the door, my princess dear. Open the door to your true love here. Remember the promise you made that day by the cool spring in the woods far away." The princess ran to the door and opened it, and there was the frog. She had completely forgotten about him. She was horrified and slammed the door shut, rushing back to her chair. Her father, the king, noticed her distress and asked what was wrong. "There's a disgusting frog at the door," she said. "He got my ball out of the spring yesterday. I promised he could live with me because I didn't think he could get out of the water. But now he's at the door and wants to come in." Just then, the frog knocked again and repeated, "Open the door, my princess dear. Open the door to your true love here. Remember the promise you made that day by the cool spring in the woods far away." The king looked at his daughter and said, "If you gave your word, you must keep it. Go and let him in." So she opened the door, and the frog hopped into the room, tap, tap, splash, splash, all the way across the floor to the table where the princess sat. "Please lift me onto the chair," he said. She hesitated, but did it anyway. "Now move your plate closer," he said, "so I can eat from it." She reluctantly obeyed. When he had eaten as much as he wanted, he said, "I'm tired. Carry me upstairs and put me in your bed." And the princess, though very unwilling, took him up in her hand and put him upon the pillow of her own bed, where he slept all night long. When the sun rose, the frog jumped up, hopped downstairs, and left the house. The princess sighed with relief. Finally, he's gone, and I won't have to deal with him again. But she was wrong. That night, just as she was getting ready for bed, she heard the same tapping and splashing, and the little voice called again. "Open the door, my princess dear. Open the door to your true love here. Remember the promise you made that day, by the cool spring in the woods far away." She opened the door, and in came the frog, once more hopping up to her pillow and sleeping beside her. He did the same thing again on the third night. But on the morning after the third night, the princess awoke to find not the frog, but a handsome young prince standing at the head of her bed. He had the most beautiful eyes she had ever seen. The prince explained that a wicked fairy had cast a spell on him, turning him into a frog, and that he had to wait until a princess let him eat from her plate and sleep in her bed for 3 nights before the curse could be broken. "You freed me from the spell," said the prince, "and now I have only one wish, that you'll come back with me to my father's kingdom, where I'll marry you and love you forever." Of course, the young princess happily agreed. Just then, a grand coach rolled up to the castle gates. It was pulled by 8 stunning horses with feathered plumes and golden harnesses. His enchantment so long and so bitterly that his heart had almost burst. They said goodbye to the king, then climbed into the golden carriage and set off in high spirits for the prince's homeland. When they arrived, there was a grand celebration, and the prince and princess lived happily together for many, many years.